Welcome to another monster reincarnation series on this channel. This is the story of Ling Yan, who, due to his bad luck, got reincarnated as a zombie in another world during a zombie apocalypse. To make things worse, he has an endless hunger and must continuously consume other zombies to survive. Our story begins with a horde of zombies chasing three men. The men are panicking and running as fast as they can to save their lives. Just as one of the zombies is about to grab a man's jacket, the man swats the zombie's hand away. This angers the zombie even more, terrifying the man. The fat man running ahead of him grabs his collar and shouts, "Keep running if you want to survive!" Somehow they manage to outrun the zombies and enter a barren storehouse. They quickly lock the door, unaware that there is a zombie corpse lying in the same room. All three men are extremely tired and breathe heavily. One of them checks a blue screen displaying the locations of nearby zombies and assures the others that this place is safe. As they relax, feeling relieved, the lifeless body of the zombie begins to shiver. Ling Yan's soul gets reincarnated into this body. The room is silent, so his sudden breathing startles the men. Hearing the sound, they cautiously approach its source, only to find a zombie standing in front of them, swaying in typical zombie fashion and making incomprehensible growls. One of them exclaims, "Didn't the system show there were no zombies in this room?" At this moment, we learn the truth. These men are actually players in a trash zombie game. But Ling Yan is different. He's truly been reincarnated into this game world. Suddenly, a status screen appears in front of Ling Yan. It displays his original name, race as normal zombie, and other stats. Ling is confused. Did I just enter this game world? Another notification appears. Player Ling is now undertaking the main mission. Until the mission is completed, the player cannot exit the game. As he reads this, he hears rushing footsteps. Looking up, he sees the three men charging toward him. Before Ling can ask about their intentions, they start attacking him. Poor Ling is overwhelmed as he tries to fend off all three of them. He shouts, "Brothers, why are you attacking me? Can't we just sit down and talk?" But to the men, his words are just unintelligible zombie noises. Another notification pops up on Ling's status panel. Final mission: discover the truth behind the virus outbreak and stop it from spreading. This shocks Ling. He screams in panic. How long will it take to complete this main mission? He desperately wants to contact the game's customer service. Meanwhile, one of the men, surprised that this low-level zombie knows to protect its head, remarks, "This zombie seems smarter than the others." Ling feels a glimmer of hope. Maybe this guy can understand me. But to the other players, Ling's expressions appear grotesque and disgusting. The man in the black coat guesses, he might be an elite monster. Saying this, he stabs Ling in the neck with a knife. The group gets excited, believing elite monsters are full of rare items and resources. Ling tries to explain that he's also a player, but they don't understand him. Suddenly, Ling realizes something. "I'm not feeling any pain." Checking his system, he learns the truth. Zombies have no sensory nerves. He'll only die if his head is severely injured. This explains why their attacks haven't been effective. He also notices that he has three skills. Just then, the man in the mafia suit stabs Ling in the leg. Furious, Ling roars in anger. His loud noise alarms the men, who panic. "That roar will attract the outside zombies," one of them shouts. Deciding to leave before the horde arrives, they make their escape. Ling shouts after them, "Don't leave, we can talk." But it's too late. The men are gone, leaving Ling all alone. For his bad luck, a warning notification suddenly pops up. Hunger level has reached 50%. If hunger falls below 25%, the player will lose consciousness. Control of the body can only be regained after satisfying hunger to at least 40%. Ling groans in despair. His endless hunger has begun to take its toll. Lin shouts in panic, "What a crappy setting is this? Why must I be a zombie and eat continuously to survive?" For a brief moment, he feels a glimmer of hope upon discovering that his strength stat is 10. In this game, normal players struggle to gain even a single attribute point. However, his joy is short-lived as he sinks back into despair. Even so, I'd rather not be a zombie. He recalls that as far as he knows, there's no zombie profession for players in this game. Then his mind flashes back to the day the game launched. On opening day, there was a massive crowd, and he arrived too late to buy the game. He thought he had no chance of getting it, especially since this was his first time trying out a VR game of this scale. But then, something strange happened. A man, suspiciously hiding his face under a hoodie, bumped into him. Before Lin could react, the man handed him a gaming helmet and disappeared without a word. Although the man's behavior was unsettling, Lin decided to give the game a try. The moment he put on the helmet, he felt something invade his brain like a virus. The next thing he knew, he was stuck in this game world, reincarnated as a zombie. He sighs. I was so stupid to play this crappy game. But for now, survival is his priority. He decides to find food and cautiously opens the door. To his horror, a horde of zombies storms in. It doesn't take long for Lin to realize that the 3 men who attacked him earlier have been eaten by these zombies. As the zombies lurch toward him, he yells, "Look closely! I'm a zombie, not a human!" Unfortunately, these zombies care only about meat, ignoring his words. Lin fights back, but quickly realizes that the sheer number of zombies has completely blocked his way out. To his surprise, the zombies don't focus on him. Instead, they begin attacking one of their own, the zombie Lin had injured earlier. Taking advantage of the chaos, Lin quickly escapes from the room. He finds a nearby supermarket to satisfy his hunger. Remembering the game's settings, Lin knows that zombies prioritize attacking humans. But as time passes and humans become fewer, the starving zombies will eventually start devouring their own kind. Lin eats everything he can find, from packaged food to snacks. Afterward, he checks his stats again. The experience points required to evolve are 10, but he has no idea how to gain them. Unlike normal players who can share tips and strategies, Lin, as a lone, intelligent zombie, has to figure everything out himself. He groans, "If I can't complete the mission, I can't exit the game. What a nightmare." Suddenly, his stomach growls loudly. A warning notification pops up. Hunger level, 30%. If hunger drops to 25%, the player will lose consciousness. Lin starts losing his senses and mutters in confusion. "What's going on? I just ate so much." The system finally explains. Only meat can satisfy a zombie's hunger. Realizing this, Lin looks at the roaming zombies around him and his instincts scream, "Meat! Meat! Meat!" Struggling to maintain his sanity, he decides to find an isolated zombie. Attacking a group would be too dangerous, but the overwhelming hunger drives him closer to madness. Finally, he spots a lone zombie. Drooling uncontrollably, Lin rushes toward it and bites its shoulder. The zombie immediately retaliates, sinking its teeth into Lin's arm. Lin shouts in frustration, "Stop biting me, you f***er!" and punches the zombie hard in the head, breaking its bones. The zombie continues to attack relentlessly, forcing Lin to retreat and assess its stats. What he sees shocks him. The zombie's stats are significantly higher than his own. "No wonder it didn't care about my killing intent," Lin mutters. Realizing he can't win, he decides to run. He glances back and, to his relief, sees the zombie chasing him at a snail's pace. Its agility stat is clearly just 1. Lin smirks, as expected of such low agility. "It's slower than I thought." Regaining his confidence, he decides to kill the zombie for survival. He heads to the kitchen utensils section of the supermarket and prepares a makeshift weapon. As the slow-moving zombie finally approaches, Lin throws a knife, hitting it squarely in the head. Knowing that the head is the only weak spot, he continues to hurl various utensils at it. Although these attacks fail to kill the zombie, they anger it further. The zombie roars loudly, attracting nearby zombies. To Lin's shock, the previously sluggish zombie suddenly picks up speed, now charging at a terrifying 2 kilometers per hour. Fortunately, Lin had prepared a trap. The zombie's leg gets caught and chopped, causing it to fall onto a spike. Lin, now ready with an axe, waits for the perfect moment. With one swift strike, he chops off the zombie's head. Lin finally managed to hunt his first zombie. Despite his disgust, he tore off some meat from its body. Although the thought of eating it repulsed him, he had no other choice. To cope, he reminded himself that this was just a game, and the meat was nothing more than data. Blocking his nose, Lin forced himself to swallow the stinky flesh. To his surprise, as the meat slid down his throat, he experienced a euphoric sensation, an indescribable pleasure akin to paradise. He hadn't expected the meat to taste this good. His hunger level immediately shot up to 100%. Before he could process the experience, more zombies began approaching him. It seemed like zombies didn't allow anyone to enjoy a meal in peace. Without hesitation, Lin picked up the half-eaten corpse and threw it toward the incoming zombies. While they were distracted, he quickly fled the area. Lin rushed into the supermarket's bathroom and locked the door behind him. Exhausted, he slumped down to the floor and let out a heavy sigh of relief. Finally, a moment to breathe. Just then, a new system message appeared before him. Congratulations! You have consumed your own species and obtained the skill Cannibalism. This marked his 4th skill, Glutton. The system explained that when Lin was extremely hungry, he could hunt his own species, and during such times, his attacks would deal 10% more damage. Lin groaned. If the system had given me this skill from the start, I wouldn't have struggled so much just now. Killing his first zombie had also earned him 5 experience points. He realized that with some strategy, he could hunt other zombies and eventually evolve. While resting inside the bathroom, Lin suddenly heard noises from outside. He froze, realizing these weren't the sounds of zombies. Someone spoke. "This place has plenty of food and not many zombies. What are we waiting for? Let's clear them out and restock our supplies." Another voice chimed in. "We're close to completing the next mission. We can't afford any mistakes." Lin cautiously cracked the door open and peeked outside to assess the situation. He spotted a group of players moving toward the supermarket. But then, something caught his eye that made his heart sink. A man was holding a gun. Lin's eyes widened in shock. Isn't that too overpowered? The man looked like a military officer, moving cautiously and analyzing the surroundings. After assessing the situation, he said, "I'll stay at the door. Everyone, proceed according to the plan to collect resources. Don't make any noise. Meet back here in 10 minutes. The others followed his orders diligently. Among them, a little girl picked up a snack and asked her older sister, "Is this okay?" Her sister shook her head. "No, don't take high-calorie food. We need to prioritize essentials." Like any child, the little girl tried to persuade her sister, but the older sibling firmly said, "The bag has limited space. At most, you can bring 1 snack." Watching them, Lin couldn't help but think, how nice it must be for them. They can eat snacks to recover energy, while I'm stuck eating stinky zombies. Suddenly, the younger girl sensed danger behind her. Panicking, she turned and saw Lin. To avoid suspicion, Lin acted like a brainless zombie, shuffling past them without incident. As Lin moved to another part of the supermarket, he overheard some boys talking. "Should we really let this NPC group split the resources with us?" one of them asked. "Think about the future, bro," another replied. "I played the beta version of this game. That soldier definitely has a hidden mission. If we increase his favorability, he'll reward us with a gun." Hearing this, Lin grew anxious. If players can get guns this early, won't they become overpowered? How are zombies even supposed to survive? Before he could think further, someone screamed. The loud noise not only caught the attention of nearby players, but also attracted more zombies. Lin hurried to investigate and found 2 injured sisters surrounded by delinquents. One of the thugs slapped the older, white-haired girl and threatened, "If zombies come here, I'll use you two as bait to escape." Despite the beating, the older girl remained fearless, hugging her younger sister tightly. Just as the man was about to slap her again, the soldier intervened, grabbing his hand and pinning him to the ground. "Do you have any idea how dangerous it is out there?" the soldier scolded. "Is your brain full of air? All you do is create trouble." The remaining humans gathered together. The soldier, wasting no time, said, "We can't stay here any longer. Prepare to break through." He pulled out a knife, ready for action. Lin noticed that apart from the soldier, the others didn't even have proper weapons. This should be an easy win, he thought. Just then, a system notification popped up. Submission triggered. Weaklings bullied by others. Mission objective: protect the 2 female students in the mall and eliminate anyone who threatens them. Rewards: +5. Favorability with the 2 students, with additional rewards based on mission progress. Lin was dumbfounded. Why do I, a zombie, have to protect human NPCs? He glanced at the mission rewards and saw the favorability system. What's the point of favorability with NPCs? Then he remembered the players' conversation. If they can get a gun by increasing favorability with the soldier, maybe I can get something too. Meanwhile, the humans struggled to fend off the approaching zombies. Lin watched the soldier push back a zombie with practiced skill and decided to test him by shoving another zombie his way. To Lin's irritation, the players killed it effortlessly. Lin realized he needed a strategy to complete his mission. He thought about stepping forward to show the humans that he was intelligent and posed no threat. Following his plan, he moved toward them. But there was a problem: the players. As soon as Lin appeared, they threw a knife at him. Lin caught it mid-air, surprising everyone. He then began to fence the zombies, leaving the humans in shock. One of the boys exclaimed, "Something's wrong with this zombie! Be careful, everyone!" Despite his caution, Lin took several hits. The group noticed he was actively protecting other zombies. "It's just a zombie with some intelligence," the soldier said calmly. "Take it down first." The players charged at Lin. However, their swords inflicted minimal damage, and stones had no effect. Unless they injured his head, Lin wouldn't die. Soon, the players began losing their morale. After several failed attempts, one of the experienced players, unwilling to accept defeat, charged at Lin with a knife. Lin grinned. He took the bait. The soldier barked, "Don't break formation! Fall back!" But the boy didn't listen and lunged forward. Lin easily dodged, causing the player to crash into a horde of zombies. Within moments, the zombies overwhelmed him, and he was killed. Lin received a system notification. "You have eliminated a side player, gained 2 experience points." He smiled, realizing he was just a few points away from his next evolution. The soldier ordered everyone to move back, explaining that the sight of blood excites zombies, raising their aggression and attack power. One of the players, terrified, expressed his desire to exit the game immediately. However, the overweight player scoffed, "They're fake! Don't be a coward!" Just as the words left his mouth, a zombie attacked him, causing him to drop his weapon. As the zombie lunged to bite the chubby player, the soldier fired a shot, taking the zombie down. "Pick up your weapon and stand up," the soldier commanded. "I've only got 1 bullet left." The soldier aimed his last bullet at Lin. Lin tried to dodge, but ended up getting scratched on his shoulder. The bullet missed him and struck another zombie in the head behind him. Lin realized this was the perfect opportunity to attack the soldier since he was now out of ammunition. But to his disappointment, the zombies around him became distracted, feasting on the fallen zombie's corpse. The soldier and his team took advantage of this moment to regroup and launch a counterattack. Some players turned their attention toward Lin, disrupting their formation. While one player struggled to fight off 2 zombies, Lin stealthily moved behind him and bit into his neck. 1 XP earned. Lin didn't bother finishing him off, leaving the player to the mercy of the other zombies. With the soldier preoccupied, Lin quietly approached from behind, preparing to attack. Just as he was about to strike, another player threw himself between them, sacrificing his life to protect the soldier. Lin kicked the player's body toward the zombie horde, ensuring his demise. As the player was devoured, he shouted, "Even if we die, we'll revive. All that matters is protecting the soldier to complete the mission." Undeterred, Lin lunged at the soldier again, but another player intervened, shoving a delinquent into Lin's path. The delinquent collided with Lin, thwarting his attack once more. Frustrated, Lin bit the delinquent, earning another point. Just then, a system warning popped up. Warning, HP critically low, 10 HP remaining. Death is permanent, no revival possible. Lin cursed the game. So if I die here, I'm gone forever. What kind of nightmare is this? Meanwhile, the soldier turned to one of the players and said, "As a soldier, I don't need you to protect me." The player, clearly annoyed, shouted back, "Just give me the gun already." Realizing his precarious situation, Lin decided to retreat before they noticed his critical state. However, as he tried to leave, a delinquent rushed at him, yelling, "Because of you, our boss is dead." The delinquent's knife almost struck Lin's head. In this life and death moment, Lin managed to grab the knife mid-air. With a swift motion, he turned the weapon against the delinquent, slashing him into two. 1 EXP earned. Evolution criteria fulfilled. A new system notification appeared. Evolution initiated. Choose your evolution path. 1. Strengthened zombie. Boost physical attributes significantly. 2. Commander zombie. Gain abilities to control lesser zombies. Lin was shocked. So I can evolve? As he pondered the decision, the system warned him. During evolution, consciousness will be lost for 10 minutes. Ensure a safe environment before proceeding. Lin had no time to waste. He quickly decided to allocate his newly earned stat points. Since his physical strength was already greater than the human players, he decided to boost his agility. With his newfound speed, Lin darted past zombies and stunned players, punching one as he ran. "That's a speed mutant zombie!" the soldier shouted. "Everyone retreat, I'll handle it!" The soldier attacked with his knife, but Lin caught the blade with his palm, letting it lodge in his hand. While the soldier prepared to block a punch, Lin grinned. It was a feint. He leaned forward and bit the soldier's arm. Lin swiftly escaped, leaving the soldier bleeding. The smell of his blood attracted a horde of zombies toward him. Using the distraction, Lin headed toward the two girls he was tasked with protecting. They screamed in panic at the sight of him. Lin picked them both up, ignoring their resistance, and bolted out of the supermarket. The younger girl fainted from fear, while the older one struggled and shouted, "Let us go!" Lin ignored her, carrying them both to a safe location. Once there, he gently placed them down. Both girls were trembling, the younger one shivering uncontrollably. Lin watched them, thinking, "Finally, the mission is complete." Lin left the girls where they were, confusing them. He moved to a corner where they couldn't see him and began his evolution process. As the transformation started, frustration bubbled within him. His next evolution was still classified as the lowest rank among zombie races. "This game is the worst," Lin thought bitterly. "If I could, I'd bite the developer who made this garbage." The system presented him with two options. 1. Strengthened zombie. Gain higher physical attributes compared to normal zombies. 2. Commander zombie. Moderate attribute increase with new skills based on mutation. Lin was torn. If he became a strengthened zombie, he could rely on raw power. If he chose the commander path, he'd have the ability to lead zombie teams, but at the cost of individual strength. Both choices had clear advantages and disadvantages. "Ah, I hate this!" Lin shouted in frustration, scaring the girls. The system then added, "Choose carefully. Your first evolution will determine your entire lineage." Unable to decide, Lin made a random choice in frustration. Suddenly, a red aura surged around him, signaling the start of his evolution. "You have chosen to evolve into the lowest rank of the mutated zombie commander class." Evolution will begin in 10 seconds. Please ensure your safety during the process. As Lin started losing consciousness, the younger girl whispered, "Big sister, why isn't the zombie making any sounds?" The older girl, noticing an iron pipe nearby, thought of using it to escape before Lin awoke. But her sister protested, "He already—" Before she could finish, Lin's evolution completed, and he regained consciousness. To his surprise, a new blue system panel appeared, revealing detailed information about the two girls. New skill unlocked, NPC information scan. Excited, Lin checked his updated attributes. All his stats had significantly improved, and he had gained 3 new skills, including the ability to command a group of zombies. He grinned as he remembered his mission reward. Sub-mission completed. Rewards. 5. Favorability with both girls, a military dagger, and 1 skill point. Lin used the skill point to upgrade his commander ability, reducing the cooldown between controlling zombies to just 5 seconds. Turning to the girls, Lin attempted to reassure them, saying, "Don't be scared. You're the only sub-mission I've triggered." But to the girls, his voice sounded like incomprehensible growls and gurgles, frightening them even more. Lin's attempts to calm them failed miserably. Frustrated, he abruptly ran out of the room. Seeing him leave, the girls decided to escape as well. However, as they ventured out, they were surprised to find the area devoid of zombies. What they didn't know was that Lin had used his new commander ability to send all the zombies to the 2nd floor, creating a safe passage for them. Watching from afar, Lin muttered, "Good luck. This is all the help I can give you. The rest is up to you." He sighed. Who could possibly have a worse life than me? Suddenly, he felt a strange, oppressive aura from above. The system chimed in. "You've entered another zombie lord's territory. Warning, the zombie lord will be highly hostile towards you. Options: 1. Leave the territory, or 2. Defeat the zombie lord." Lin initially decided to retreat, but the system added, "Hidden mission. Triggered, lordship. As a zombie with power, you can claim and rule your own territory. Other zombie lords will remain hostile until defeated. Rewards include random equipment and items." Hearing about potential rewards, Lin's eyes gleamed. "Equipment? Items? Say no more." He turned back and charged toward the zombie lord's territory, albeit cautiously. As he moved closer, he sensed a stronger aura. Soon, he spotted large numbers of zombies gathering. The lord must be on the 3rd floor, Lin thought. He decided to use the other zombies as a meat shield for his assault. Carefully, he recalled the 3rd floor's layout, preparing a strategy. Despite feeling a tinge of fear, Lin steeled himself. Rewards were worth the risk. As he approached the 3rd floor, a foul, rotten stench hit his nose, far worse than anything he'd encountered before. His system displayed the zombie lord's information. Zombie lord, gluttonous chubby, threat level, high. The grotesque figure of the zombie lord came into view, a massive, bloated zombie feasting on a pile of decaying flesh. Its aura was suffocating, and its size was intimidating. The lord stopped eating, its glowing, sunken eyes locking onto Lin. The tension in the air thickened as Lin gulped. Why does this thing look scarier than a boss monster? Lin eyed the hulking, chubby zombie lord, whose 30 strength stats put him on an entirely different level. While Lin was relieved that his own speed outmatched the lord's, the sheer difference in raw power was terrifying. The lord let out an ear-shattering roar, sending shockwaves through the air. Lin barely managed to stay on his feet. In the next instant, the chubby lord charged at him with unexpected speed. Is he actually faster than me? Lin thought, panicked, as he turned to run. The chase led Lin through the 3rd floor as the chubby lord smashed everything in its path. Using the environment to his advantage, Lin grabbed a hanging bar and swung himself to safety. The chubby lord, unable to stop in time, crashed headfirst into a wall. That thing's no ordinary zombie, Lin thought as he saw the damage the Lord inflicted. Its power came from consuming countless zombies, making it a terrifying foe. Seeing the chubby stuck in the wall, Lin seized the opportunity. He dashed forward and leaped, attempting to pierce the Lord's grotesque body. But his dagger barely left a scratch. The chubby's skin was unnaturally tough. Before Lin could react, the Lord swatted him away like a fly, sending him crashing into a pile of debris. Lin's body screamed with pain as his HP plummeted. The strength gap is insane. I can't beat him head-on. Desperate, Lin wondered if his commander skill could work on a zombie lord. The chubby charged at him again, but this time Lin issued a mental command. Stop! To his surprise, the command worked. The chubby froze in place, its grotesque body trembling under Lin's control. Not wasting a second, Lin slid between its legs and slashed at a weak spot, leaving a cut before retreating. Goodbye, fatty, Lin mocked as he dashed back to the second floor. Once there, he commanded the zombies under his control to attack the chubby lord. As the lumbering beast reached the escalator, it roared furiously, tearing a zombie apart with its bare hands. The ordinary zombies swarmed the chubby, but were no match for its immense strength. Taking advantage of the chaos, Lin joined the fray, slicing at the lord's body wherever he could. After several attempts, the chubby finally fell to the ground. The skin may be tough, but not all parts are equally protected, Lin observed, realizing the weak spots on the lord's body. The other zombies descended on the fallen chubby, biting into its flesh. Lin, however, remained wary. Despite his newfound intelligence from evolution, he still couldn't figure out why he couldn't speak. As he pondered, he noticed several helicopters circling in the sky above. The system chimed in. Special event triggered. Military forces will arrive in the city within 48 hours. This intervention will introduce side missions and may provide clues to your main mission. Lin frowned. Why is the military involved? The system continued. Hidden mission triggered. Patient. Find the trapped doctor in the hospital before the event ends. Mission reward, clues about the main mission. Lin sighed. A hospital rescue mission? This is going to be anything but simple. The system issued another warning. 9 p.m. Zombies become more active at night. Ensure your safety in the dark. Suddenly, a loud crash interrupted Lin's thoughts. The chubby lord, despite being swarmed by zombies, had freed itself and charged at Lin. Before he could react, the chubby clamped its massive jaws onto Lin's arm. Lin couldn't feel pain due to his zombie state, but the sight of his arm nearly being torn off was horrifying. Panicking, Lin once again used his commander skill to immobilize the chubby. He commanded the zombies to attack relentlessly while he pulled himself free and retreated to the first floor. On the first floor, Lin stumbled into a medical room. Using the supplies he found, he patched up his injuries as best he could. His vitality stats were too low to recover quickly, and without enough energy, he couldn't rely on his skills. I'll need to come up with another plan to kill that beast, Lin thought, wincing at the state of his mangled arm. Determined, Lin scavenged chemicals from the medical room and crafted a crude, flammable bottle. He decided to set an ambush in the confined space of the first floor. The chubby lord's massive size would be a disadvantage here. Moments later, the chubby appeared, its grotesque body lumbering into the room. Its movements were ferocious and unrelenting, but Lin was ready. As the lord charged at him, Lin hurled the flammable bottle. The makeshift explosive shattered on impact, engulfing the chubby's head in flames. Using the distraction, Lin leaped onto the chubby and struck its weak spot repeatedly. The beast roared in agony, but Lin didn't stop. After a grueling fight, the chubby lord finally collapsed. The system chimed. Congratulations, you have defeated the territory lord. The mall now belongs to you. Territory buff activated. Increased control and defense within this area. Lin's rewards included 45 experience points and the ability to register the mall as his base. Unfortunately, the territory buff was limited to the mall, making it useless outside. Suddenly, Lin notices that the army is heading his way. They've received orders to eliminate all zombies. As soon as they enter the mall, they begin firing relentlessly at the zombie horde. Lin hides himself, but strangely, he feels a surge of anger watching the soldiers kill his underlings. Is this the influence of being a territory lord? He wonders. Despite the army's overwhelming firepower, Lin observes them deploying armored vehicles as they advance further. Are they planning to set up a base here? He thinks uneasily. The soldiers systematically clear the entire area of zombies, building a shielded quarantine zone around the mall. They bring in various types of equipment, and it becomes evident that the mall is being established as their base of operations. For Lin, this is a bitter blow. I just became the territory lord, and now my underlings are gone, my entrance is blocked, and my mall has been taken over. Could I be the unluckiest lord ever? The soldiers flood the area with lights, illuminating every corner. One of them reports to their leader, "All zombies inside the mall have been eliminated. This location is near our primary objective, has a good environment, is hard to invade, and easy to defend. It's the best choice for a forward base." Their commander nods. At dawn, send a team to survey the area further and make an announcement on the radio. Inform the citizens that the mall is now a settlement site under army protection and that we will accept survivors here. Hearing this, Lin's suspicion grows. Their destination isn't the mall? Could it be they're headed to the hospital as well? Just then, the system notifies Lin. "Warning! Your body is rotting due to prolonged inactivity. Your condition is critical. If you don't act quickly, you will perish." Panic sets in as Lin begins analyzing his surroundings for a way to escape. He notices one soldier behaving strangely, searching the zombie corpses with deliberate precision. Lin understands. He must be a player. Of course, players can loot zombie remains for rewards, Lin realizes. Determined not to expose himself, Lin searches for a disguise. After covering his body completely, he sneaks up behind the player, clamps a hand over his mouth, and presses a knife to his neck. Lin quickly scribbles a message to explain his situation, stating that he's also a player. The written note clarifies Lin's condition and intentions. The player nods nervously, agreeing to cooperate. When Lin removes the cloth gag, the player blurts out, "Why didn't you just say so? Your game must be bugged and your sound, maybe gay." Lin writes down his first question. "How did you obtain this identity?" The player replies, "The system assigned me a random profession when I created my character. I just got lucky and ended up as a soldier." Lin writes his second question. "What's your current mission?" The player answers, "I've been tasked to head to the hospital to unlock my next mission." Suddenly, the player pauses and adds, "I just got a new mission. I can either kill you or team up with you to earn favorability points. Since you're holding a knife to my neck, I think I'll go with teamwork." Lin writes, "My mission is also to go to the hospital. Since our objectives align, we can work together, but you need to help me escape this mall without being spotted by the army." The player agrees, offering a plan. He approaches the soldiers and shouts, "Hey! 2 zombies are doing something naughty on the second floor. They're acting weird!" The soldiers, suspicious, rush toward the second floor to caught them in ultra quality. Meanwhile, Lin seizes the opportunity to slip past the barricades and out of the mall. As Lin crosses the netted barrier, he laments his bad luck. "If I had killed just a few zombies myself, I'd have gained enough experience for evolution. But those soldiers wiped out everything, leaving me with nothing." Now outside the mall, Lin's condition worsens. His body continues to deteriorate, and he knows that without evolution, his chances of survival are slim. Suddenly, he senses something ominous. A murderous aura radiates from a cluster of abandoned residential buildings nearby. An elite monster. Could it be another zombie lord? Lin wonders, cautiously approaching the area. but challenging such a foe in his current state seems reckless. The system interrupts his thoughts. Warning! You have left your territory. All buffs have been deactivated. With no other zombies nearby to replenish his strength, Lin realizes he has no choice. It's a gamble, but I have to try. As Lin climbs the building, the aura intensifies. On reaching a particular floor, he feels an oppressive force. The zombie lord must be here, he thinks, readying himself for a fight that could either save his life or end it. Lin finds several skeletons scattered around, all strangely dressed in patient gowns. Before he can process the scene, he hears a noise from the front door. Suddenly, a spiky zombie bursts through, its body covered in sharp, bone-like protrusions. This zombie seems to have detected Lin and immediately becomes hostile. The system identifies it as belonging to the bone corrosion race, a low-rank mutated zombie with a medium threat level. Lin feels a mix of fear and curiosity upon encountering this new type of zombie. The spiky zombie charges at Lin with surprising aggression. Lin manages to dodge its first attack, noting that its speed is slower than the fatty he fought earlier. Confidently, Lin tries to stab the spiky zombie with his knife, but the blade strikes one of its spikes and shatters upon impact. This thing is as tough as the fatty, Lin thinks, retreating a few steps. Suddenly, the spiky zombie activates a skill, Iron Body, which further enhances its already formidable toughness. Its body becomes visibly sturdier, and its spikes seem even more menacing. Lin is alarmed. Is its entire body now a weapon? The spiky zombie swings its arms wildly, its spikes slashing through the air. Lin takes several hits and soon finds himself cornered against a wall. The zombie lunges in for the kill, leaving Lin no room to escape. Desperate, Lin pulls out another dagger from his inventory. As the zombie's attack connects with his shoulder, Lin loses 7 HP, barely preventing the spike from piercing deeper by blocking with the dagger. Gritting his teeth, he grabs one of the spikes on its chest and mutters, "If I'm going to die anyway, let's see who's luckier." With a reckless leap, Lin hurls himself and the spiky zombie out of the building. The spikes pierce through Lin's body as they plummet, causing excruciating pain. However, Lin gambles that the impact from such a height will shatter the spiky zombie's bones. When they hit the ground, Lin lies motionless, his HP rapidly decreasing. Through his agony, Lin wonders why the system hasn't notified him of a level up yet. Struggling to free himself from the spikes, he glances at the zombie's lifeless body, suspecting it might still be alive. Finally, the system announces, "Level up criteria fulfilled." Instantly, Lin's body begins to recover. His wounds close rapidly, and the pain subsides. Lin breathes a sigh of relief. "I risked my life for this," he mutters. "Don't you dare give me a bad evolution choice." As the system processes his level up, Lin receives new information. Defeating the spiky zombie has expanded his territory, and he now has 2 options for evolution. 1. Plague Walker enhances commander skills and slightly increases all attributes. 2. Corrosion Bone transforms body fat into bone, significantly increasing defense. The system warns that choosing a new race will replace his commander's exclusive skill with a skill unique to the new race. Lin weighs the pros and cons. Looking at the defeated spiky zombie, he considers its limited potential. Its hardness might protect it in close combat, but would be useless against powerful enemies or firearms. The system then informs him that he has obtained a clue for the patient mission, increasing his mission progress to 5%. It adds that as he uncovers more clues, the mission's difficulty will decrease. Lin decides to visit the hospital tomorrow, hoping to make progress on his main mission. For now, he retreats to a safe location to evolve. As expected, he chooses Plague Walker, prioritizing the enhancement of his commander abilities and overall balance. He also allocates his additional stats to agility, preparing for the challenges ahead. As the evolution begins, Lin feels an intense heat and sharp pain in his chest. It's as if he's touching the very core of his being, his soul. The process feels much longer than his previous evolutions, and Lin eventually passes out from the overwhelming sensation. The next morning, Lin wakes up, recalling fragments of strange dreams during his evolution. Though he didn't gain a new skill, his attributes have noticeably improved. One new attribute, predatory instinct, catches his eye. However, its description is unclear, leaving Lin puzzled. Exiting the building, Lin notices a clock tower in the distance. It's already 6 a.m., and he assumes the NPC soldiers are preparing to move out. He knows he must hurry if he wants to stay ahead of them. Just then, his stomach growls loudly. His hunger level has reached 30, leaving him no choice but to consume the spiky zombie's corpse. Grimacing, Lin mutters to himself, "I hope I can get used to this someday." Lin follows the army as they head toward the hospital, reasoning that they'll clear the path and help him conserve energy. He tries to communicate with the player using body language, but the player doesn't understand and decides to ask Lin about it once they reach the hospital. As they near the hospital, Lin feels uneasy. It looks more like a haunted house than a medical facility. The system notification only heightens his tension. Warning: you have entered a highly dangerous area, Central Hospital. Please ensure your own safety. The player also starts looking anxious and halts in his tracks. Lin signals him to keep moving, understanding that the player must have received the same system warning. What a coward. Meanwhile, the army begins firing at the zombies near the hospital entrance. The player uses his skill to detect hiding zombies, but he suddenly senses something terrifying. Overwhelmed with fear, he panics and starts running. "Come back! You're not allowed to move without permission!" shouts a soldier. At the same time, a massive tide of zombies begins closing in on the small group of soldiers. Despite their continuous gunfire, the horde doesn't slow down. The panicked player stumbles back toward Lin, only to realize another wave of zombies is closing in from the front. He freezes, terrified, as zombies approach from all directions, even pouring out of the surrounding buildings. Lin watches as the soldiers struggle. Once their bullets run out, they're as good as dead, he thinks. He still needs their help to enter the hospital, so he can't afford to let them die. Spotting an open room nearby, Lin rushes inside and shouts for the others to follow. "Get in here!" he signals urgently, as the soldiers keep firing at the horde. Some of them decide to hold the line while others retreat into the room. Lin knows they won't last long. Soon they'll run out of ammo, and the remaining soldiers outside will be overwhelmed. He writes a message for those inside. "This place is safe. Stay here and don't move." Then, without hesitation, Lin heads back out to deal with the zombies himself. "Sir, retreat with us!" one of the soldiers shouts. But Lin can't die here. Not when he still needs their cooperation to complete his mission. With a single knife in hand, he charges into the zombie wave, slashing and stabbing relentlessly. "Fall back!" another soldier yells, urging Lin to retreat. But Lin ignores them, pushing the zombies back while the remaining soldiers retreat to the safe room. Once the soldiers are inside, Lin realizes they can't see him anymore. Finally, he removes his cap and glasses and unleashes his true power. He commands the zombies to leave. The horde pauses, begins to withdraw. Lin silently hopes the soldiers won't make any noise, allowing the zombies to disperse peacefully. However, with his current vitality, Lin can only control about 800 zombies, far short of the 1,000-strong horde surrounding him. What a pity, he thinks, exhausted. His vitality is completely drained, and if another wave of zombies arrives, he won't be able to command them. Just as he begins to look for a place to rest, Lin senses a powerful aura within the horde. From among the normal zombies emerges a tall, fat zombie radiating an oppressive presence. This giant zombie seems to be a berserker, driving the other zombies into a frenzy. The horde charges at Lin with renewed aggression. Lin summons the skill he gained after devouring the spiky zombie, Bone Spike Transformation. He morphs his hand into a sharp spike and uses it to tear through the zombies. When some zombies manage to bite him, Lin transforms the bitten body parts into spikes, instantly killing them. Spotting the giant zombie, Lin decides to end the fight quickly. He rushes toward it, confident in his attack skill. The giant zombie raises its hands to block as Lin leaps into the air. With a furious punch, Lin shatters the giant zombie's head into pieces. Distracted by the fallen berserker, the rest of the zombies turn on its corpse, devouring it instead of attacking Lin. Relieved, Lin knocks on the door of the safe room. The soldiers inside are on edge, but the player assures them, "It's not a zombie." The door opens, and Lin walks past the stunned soldiers. "Stop! How did you survive?" one of them demands. Lin writes, "If you have any questions, ask Yeon." The soldiers turn to the player, who looks visibly uneasy. "Well, explain this to us. You seem to know him well," a soldier insists. Yeon curses under his breath, thinking, "Why does this NPC have to be so realistic?" Yeon followed Lin upstairs after giving a vague explanation to the soldiers. Once they were alone, Yeon said, "We haven't introduced ourselves properly yet. I'm Yeon, currently level 5, and a low-ranked soldier. In real life, I love extreme sports." Lin wrote in his book, "I'm Ling Yan, level 3. In real life, I'm a student." As a fellow player, Lin thought Yeon would understand his situation. He decided to reveal his true identity, but something strange happened. When he tried to write the word zombie, his hand refused to follow his command. He struggled and managed to scribble it, but to his frustration, the word appeared blurry and unreadable to Yeon. Yeon frowned. "I can see the words 'I am,' but the rest is blurred. What's going on?" Lin tried writing other words and noticed that as long as he avoided writing zombie, the trembling stopped. The game seemed to be preventing him from revealing his identity. Yeon sighed, misinterpreting the situation. "You must be under too much study pressure. Relax a bit, okay?" Frustrated, Lin threw the book aside. He then decided to remove his mask to show Yeon his true form. Yeon's eyes widened in shock, thinking Lin was suddenly undressing. But before Lin could fully reveal himself, a sharp pain shot through his body, and he collapsed unconscious. In his unconscious state, Lin heard a chilling voice. "Do not speak. Do not let it out. If you try again, you will die." The warning felt like a death sentence. When Lin regained consciousness, Yeon had left him a letter. "I have something urgent to attend to, so I'm going offline. I'll be back by 3 p.m. By the way, I told the soldiers you're a troublesome retired Special Forces soldier. Good luck." Lin sighed and looked outside. Zombies were furious and aimlessly roaming in the rain, their irritation amplified by the weather. Soon, a soldier approached Lin. "Sir, we're ready to carry out the mission. Do you plan to join us, or should we provide you with equipment to leave on your own?" Lin wrote that he would join the mission. The soldier nodded. "Our commander is waiting for you downstairs. Follow me." Lin was led to a room where several soldiers were gathered. The commander greeted him sternly. "If you're joining the operation, you'll follow my orders." The commander then held up a photo of a woman. "We're heading to the central hospital to rescue this doctor. She's vital to the mission." Lin recognized the doctor's face. It matched a clue mentioned in his system mission. To gain the soldier's trust, he wrote that he had found a letter on the zombies. The commander examined the letter and confirmed it was written in the doctor's handwriting. The system notified Lin, "Get 1 favorability with commander." In return, the commander provided Lin with equipment. The system revealed information about the rifle he received, but as a zombie, Lin couldn't use it without a specific skill. He wrote, "I'm good at close combat, just give me some grenades." The commander frowned. "Close combat with zombies is suicide, no matter how skilled you are." He handed Lin the rifle. "Take it. You'll need it." Just then, loud thuds came from the barricaded door. The system notified Lin, Heavy rain is interfering with the zombies' hearing, making them highly irritable. Please proceed with caution. A soldier hurried in. Commander, you need to come upstairs. We may need to adjust our plan for evacuation. Everyone moved to the rooftop. From there, they saw hordes of zombies surrounding the area. Among them were not only normal zombies, but several territory lord-level zombies, each radiating a powerful aura. Lin spotted the same fatty zombie he had fought earlier, along with towering giants of various shapes and sizes. This is going to be tough, Lin thought grimly. The commander assessed the situation. It's impossible to clear the zombies from up here and go down. Let's look for something to connect the rooftops. The distance between buildings isn't large. We'll move across from the rooftops. They quickly found a steel ladder and used it to bridge the gap between the roofs. To avoid detection, they laid blankets below to dampen noise and began their careful advance. Lin was impressed by their strategy. The rain worked in their favor, masking the soldiers' scent and muffling their movements. As they reached the next building, they noticed the door was broken. Once everyone was on the rooftop, gunfire erupted. A soldier was firing at something inside the building. The soldier panicked and shouted, "There are zombies inside this building!" Before anyone could react, the soldier was caught and killed by the zombies. His agonizing screams echoed across the area, drawing the attention of every nearby zombie. Soon, a massive horde began charging toward the terrace. The soldiers started firing in desperation, but Lin realized the sheer number of zombies nearby posed an even greater threat. When the rain stops, the smell of blood will spread immediately, Lin thought. They needed to act fast. Lin noticed something alarming in the reflection of his dagger. The zombies were climbing up the side of the building. He tried to warn the soldiers, but his inability to speak made it impossible to alert them in time. One soldier noticed Lin's gestures and asked, "What's wrong?" Before he could respond, zombies were already upon them. Lin sprang into action, kicking the zombies away at the last moment. Amid the chaos, he picked up an injured soldier and leapt back to the roof of the previous building, pulling away the ladder that connected the two rooftops. With the zombies now aware of their location, the group had no choice but to evacuate immediately. However, one soldier made a brave decision to buy them time. He jumped directly into the horde of zombies below, firing relentlessly until he was completely surrounded. "For the mission!" the soldier shouted, smiling as he pulled the pin from his grenades. The explosion tore through the horde, killing countless zombies along with him. The other soldiers grew emotional, but their grief was cut short when one of them noticed something horrifying. "Look over there!" Emerging from the hospital's direction was an enormous, grotesque zombie. Lin immediately recognized it as a territory lord, a powerful and dangerous type of zombie. This one was particularly terrifying. It devoured nearby zombies, growing even larger. One soldier stammered, "Is it coming from the hospital? How are we supposed to fight something like that? Its head is so big, even a direct bullet might not work." At that moment, Ian logged back into the game, unaware of the chaos unfolding. Lin thought to himself, "It's good to be a player. The system protects them so much that even the NPCs don't fully notice their presence." Yan, confused, asked, "What are you all looking at?" Lin silently pointed toward the giant zombie. Yan froze in shock. "A boss fight? Seriously? I just logged in." The soldiers began to discuss their options. "Zombie riots have broken out in various cities, and there's no chance of reinforcements," one of them said. "Whatever happens now, we're on our own." Another soldier suggested finding an alternate route to the hospital, but the commander dismissed the idea. "Going around will mean facing another wave of zombies, and we don't have enough ammo for that. It's better to take on this big one and use the shortest route." The commander made his decision. "Once we commit, there's no turning back. Check your weapons and prepare for battle." As the soldiers readied themselves, Lin felt a sudden wave of killing intent. The giant zombie picked up a car and hurled it toward them. Everyone scattered to avoid being crushed. They quickly took their positions to face the giant, but Yeon noticed something alarming. Lin was missing. Looking around, he found a note on the jacket. Find an opportunity to aim for its head. Lin had already rushed toward the giant zombie, engaging it in close combat. However, his attacks barely made a dent in its massive body. Yeon took the note seriously and began sniping the giant zombie, aiming for its head. Lin glanced at Yeon and thought, "Is he trying to take me out too?" Despite Yeon's efforts, the giant zombie's head remained well protected. Meanwhile, the creature picked up a chunk of concrete and hurled it toward the soldiers. The commander ordered an evacuation, but contact with some of the soldiers was briefly lost. Thankfully, they soon reconnected and reported no casualties. As the giant zombie prepared to throw another vehicle, Lin knew he had to act quickly. Using his corrosion bone skill, he pierced holes into the giant's hand. With precise strikes, he managed to sever its right hand. The soldiers seized the opportunity, firing continuously at the giant. Lin shouted for Yeon to take another shot. Yeon didn't hesitate, aiming directly for the giant's head. This time, the bullet hit its mark, and the zombie collapsed to the ground with a deafening roar. Finally, it's over, the soldiers thought. But Lin's system didn't notify him of a kill. Something was wrong. Suddenly, the giant zombie rose again. From its shattered head emerged countless spiders, swarming to repair and protect it. Lin's eyes widened. This isn't a regular zombie, it's a puppet. The real leader is that bug. Realizing that the zombie could resurrect infinitely, Lin braced himself for what was to come. Countless spiders emerged from the giant zombie's body, swarming toward Lin. Yeon shot at them with his sniper rifle, clearing as many as he could. "What's going on down there?" he asked Lin. Lin wrote, "Take cover and find shelter from the rain first." Once safe, Lin explained the situation to Yeon by writing in his notebook. "That zombie is full of bugs. They have a symbiotic relationship. When the main body is in danger, the bugs emerge to protect it and help it recover. The bugs are the true leaders here," Lin wrote. He added a warning. "Don't log out now. If you do, you'll respawn right back here." Yeon decided to follow Lin's lead. "What do we do now?" "All the NPCs are dead," he asked. Lin checked inside his jacket and found 2 grenades left. He started to formulate a plan. Lin scribbled in his notebook, "I have a plan, but I'll need your help." "These spiders are even more dangerous than the zombies," Lin thought. "There's only one way out of this." In the next moment, Lin approached some skeletal remains of soldiers who had fallen earlier. All that was left of them were bones. After killing humans, these spiders lay their eggs in the bodies. Other zombies then devour these eggs, swallowing them whole without chewing. The eggs create an environment inside the zombies' bodies for the spiders to hatch, Lin realized. By devouring these eggs, the zombies recover their injuries, feeling pity as he looked at the soldier's skeleton. Their lives are now being used to help these monsters heal. Determined, Lin prepared to deal with the zombies in front of him. He activated his gluttony skill, which would take 10 minutes to fully power up. Once activated, all his attacks would deal increased damage to zombies. Lin then activated the plague skill he had obtained during his last evolution. His attacks immediately caught the attention of both the zombie and the spiders. The spiders rushed toward Lin at full speed. Calmly, he cut through them with his dagger, but there were too many. He decided to devour some of them, increasing his endurance stats. Even as a zombie himself, Lin found the process disgusting. Still, he endured it, knowing he needed to raise his endurance points to use his bone transformation skill. With his endurance stat now full and less than 3 minutes left until his gluttony skill was active, Lin charged toward the giant zombie. He slashed at its neck, but the zombie grabbed him. Lin didn't struggle. This was all part of his plan. The zombie shoved Lin into its mouth. Lin willingly slid down its throat. As he moved through the slimy, constricting food pipe, he jammed his knife into the walls to hold himself in place. Only a few seconds remained until his gluttony skill activated. When it did, Lin used his bone corrosion transformation skill, which cost him 3 endurance points, and began attacking the zombie from the inside. He keeps of slicing this thick piece of meat, which is pink and slimy from inside. Lin keeps on poking his thing. Still, it didn't affect it much. Or maybe not. This is the first time for this thick zombie, so it screams in pain, shaking violently. From the outside, Yan watched in disbelief. What kind of plan is this? Is this guy suicidal? The zombie writhed in agony, on the verge of spewing its slimy innards. Yan remembered Lin's instructions. When the zombie is about to release its fluids, throw your grenade. Although he knew the blast might take Lin out too, Yan followed the plan. He hurled the grenade, which landed perfectly near the zombie. The explosion was massive, far bigger than Yan expected. The system notified Yan. The stormy weather has stopped. The aggressiveness of zombies will now return to normal levels. As the dust settled, pieces of the giant zombie were scattered all over the area. Yan rushed to check on Lin. "Lin, are you okay?" he called out. Suddenly, a hand emerged from the zombie's mouth. Lin pulled himself out, injured but alive. The system notified Lin. "You have defeated the territory leader of this area. This block can now become your territory. Do you wish to expand your territory, yes or no?" Lin selected yes and thought to himself, "That was too close. I almost got caught in that explosion, but I survived." Yan scolded him. "You went way too far. This is just a game." Lin noticed a team invitation from Yan. He wrote back in his notebook, "I'll be more careful next time." Yan insisted, "Accept the team invitation so I can respawn next to you next time." Lin accepted the team invitation. Yan then said, "I need to log off and rest for a while. You should rest early too. Playing games for too long is bad for your health." With that, Yan logged off. Lin, meanwhile, began cutting the zombie meat to replenish his hunger and energy. He soon found a nearby room in a building and headed inside. The system notified him. "Your health has reached a dangerous level. Recovery from this injury is only possible through leveling up." Lin realized he still needed 10 experience points to evolve. "Even after becoming a powerful territory leader, I'm still just a low-rank zombie. Just like before, I'm always a few experience points short of evolution." He devoured some zombie meat and, to his surprise, gained a few points. The system then notified him, "Passive skill acquired, lowest level recovery. Eating meat for the first time each day will restore 5% of your total health." While this was a disappointing gain, 5% recovery was barely anything, Lin still felt it was better than nothing. The system continued. "You have acquired an insect armor by killing the spiders. Defense stats increased by 5. The system added another notification. "New hints regarding the event mission have been unlocked. The zombies in the hospital are not the only threat. More mutant creatures may pose potential danger. Mission patient completion rate, 20%. Gather more hints or head to the mission location to complete the task." Lin frowned. Heading to the mission location now would be suicide. I need to focus on recovering first. Exhausted, he finally fell asleep. He awoke suddenly to the sound of someone shouting. "Help me!" the voice cried. The system notified him. "Intruders have entered your territory." Lin was furious at being woken up. A player was screaming in panic outside. "Isn't this a zombie game? Why are there other monsters? It's a black spider adult, a low-level mutant race with an extremely high threat level." Lin peered out and thought, "Looks like a newbie ran into a mutant monster right after entering the game." He decided to ignore the commotion. Players can respawn, and besides, I don't know them. However, the spider soon seemed to notice something. Inside his room, Lin began preparing. He gathered toilet cleaners and disinfectants, items clearly designed for players, and placed a gas cylinder near the entrance. These 2 lines of defense should leave the spider half dead, even if it survives, Lin thought. As a territory lord, he knew the spider would eventually come for him. He carefully mixed the active ingredients in the disinfectant and toilet cleaner, creating chlorine gas. Moving toward the window, Lin thought grimly, "If the gas spreads too quickly, I'll jump out the window." He glanced down. It was the third floor. "Worst case, I'll break a leg," he muttered. But then Lin noticed something shocking. All the larvae corpses had disappeared. The giant spider must have eaten them all. Even my zombie meat from yesterday is gone. How am I supposed to fight on an empty stomach? Desperate, Lin went to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator. If there was no food left, he'd starve to death before the spider even arrived. Fortunately, he found a stash of rotten meat. This should last me a few days, he thought. Zombies don't get diarrhea anyway. If I eat a little every day, I can regain 5% health each time and slowly recover. Meanwhile, in another room in a nearby building, the giant spider was also preparing. It spun webs to block off its space and began laying eggs, all while observing the zombies from its window. 3 days later, Lin had run out of meat. His health had only slightly recovered, and he hadn't slept the entire time, waiting for the spider to attack. His spirit was reaching its breaking point. Yeon hasn't come online yet. Did he quit the game? Lin wondered. Then suddenly, there was a knock at his door. This wasn't the first time. It had become a routine. Every day the spider would knock on the door at the same time. Anxiously, Lin peered through the door's peephole. When he finally opened it, he was shocked by what he saw in the hallway. Zombies and spider eggs were tangled and trapped in thick spider webs. Before he could react, a voice startled him. "What are you looking at?" Lin jumped and turned around, spooked. It was Yeon. "Why are you shouting? And what's going on here?" Yeon asked, confused. Lin heaved a sigh of relief, then began writing to explain everything. But before he could finish, they were both startled by a sudden sensation. Something was behind them. It's the giant adult spider. Lin thinks his plan has failed. This spider never intended to use the front door from the beginning. The spider attacks them. Lin blocks it with his dagger and pushes Yeon aside, but the strength gap is huge between them. Lin gets slammed against the wall. Yeon rushes toward Lin. The spiders start entering through the door. Suddenly, Lin starts feeling dizzy. This spider web is poisonous. While he is trapped in its web, the spider manages to move in and is about to attack. Lin tries to cut the web using his knife, but it will take longer. At the same time, Yeon decides to jump out of the window, saying they will meet after Lin respawns. As Yeon gets away, Lin gives his all and shows his zombie powers. By dodging the spider's attack, he penetrates its chest with his dagger. His setup trap gets activated as soon as the spider enters the room, and now the room is filled with gas. Lin lights up his pocket lighter, causing an explosion in the room. Yan shouts from below, "Lin, are you alive?" Lin falls from the window, but his insect armor is almost destroyed in the explosion and is not a repairable item. Lin lands in a garbage bin, laying inside it with a single spider leg that he managed to grab in time. Then his system notifies him that he has met the conditions for upgrading and evolving. His health is fully restored, and the system asks him to choose the evolution direction. Lin gets out of the bin and acts like nothing happened at all. This shocks Yeon. Suddenly, Lin's health starts decreasing as he suffers from a burning debuff. His health is rapidly declining. If he doesn't act soon enough, he will die. With no other option left, he decides to eat the spider leg in front of Yeon. Although eating it will reveal his identity, if he loses consciousness, it will be all over for him. But if he eats it and his identity gets revealed, he may die from that mysterious thing. As his health reaches a critical point, he prays for it to stop and is just about to take a bite. At the same moment, the burning debuff ends, leaving him with just 30 health points. Later, they both get chased by many spiders. Yeon doesn't have much speed stats, so Lin decides to carry him like princess. At first, he got embraced, but later enjoyed it. While being chased by the spiders, Lin finds that the left path is blocked by zombies. As he remembers, there is a territory lord over there, so the only path left for him is this hospital. It's a tiger's den he has to break through. Yan shouts, "Don't go inside!" But Lin has already jumped into it. As the spiders reach the gate, surprisingly, they return back. By observing them, Lin thinks, even a large group of mutant spiders won't enter here. What's going on? Then suddenly, he senses something. Lin and Yeon both feel a sudden bone-shattering pressure. Lin understands that there are over a dozen zombies in this small area, and they are all higher level than him. The system notifies him that the event task, Patient, Hospital Arc has started. Then there comes a strange-looking zombie in a patient dress. Another zombie roars from the hospital gate. It's a security guard zombie, a low-level strengthened zombie, and it still hasn't noticed them. Those two zombies are facing each other. Then they turn around and start moving. Lin understands that the zombies here generally don't interfere with each other and have their own territories. But now that they have caused a commotion and the prey is gone, they might start fighting each other. Lin hides and observes them secretly. He knows there should be other zombies here. Are they planning to watch and pick up the pieces later? After moving some distance, both the zombies stop, just like a cowboy fight. They turn and suddenly charge toward each other. The guard punches the shorty, and the force shatters the nearby glass, causing some dust to rise. Lin and Yeon, watching as the audience, think it must be over for the shorty. But it's not. The short zombie holds the giant muscular guard's punch, and with his evil grin, he scratches the guard's hand with his giant nails. The psycho-patient zombie then rips off the guard's shoulder. The guard screams in pain and tries to punch the shorty, but the shorty easily dodges every punch. The guard zombie fails to land a single hit, while the shorty keeps damaging him with his long nails. Then the shorty kicks the guard zombie on the chin, making the guard zombie fall to the ground. It's an easy win for the shorty. Yin is shivering in fear. Even zombies attack each other? This is too terrifying. Lin is also afraid of this little zombie. It has terrifying speed and a size advantage. He has no advantage against it. Shorty drags the guard zombie somewhere. Suddenly, the guard wakes up and grabs Shorty's leg, then slams him to the ground. Once again, the guard picks him up by grabbing his leg and, with full power, throws him. But this time, the zombie is flying toward where Lin and Yeon are hiding. Shorty breaks through the window and crashes into the wall, landing directly near Lin and Yeon. Both of them become anxious, while Shorty looks a little surprised to find these unexpected guests. Then he starts grinning, delighted to find some tasty food. Lin knows that running away won't work anymore. He has to fight and keep Yeon safe. Lin writes to Yeon, telling him to run while he covers for him. He tells him to escape to the side inpatient department. Yeon follows his order, while Lin holds off Shorty. Shorty prepares his attack stance, but Lin attacks first. Shorty swiftly dodges it. At the same time, the guard zombie is about to attack Lin from behind. Lin swiftly turns and pokes his dagger into the guard's hand. Shorty takes advantage of this moment and moves behind the guard zombie. As a zombie, Shorty knows Lin is also a zombie, but his current priority is the guard zombie. Together, they take down the guard zombie. Lin is left with only 15 health points. As per a zombie's basic nature, they target the injured one first. Lin uses this chance to escape. He starts searching for Yeon. During his search, he finds some supplies and tries to restore some of his health. Looking out the window, he notices the short zombie has arrived and is climbing up the building. Lin quickly runs to hide somewhere. Shorty, being too fast, reaches too close to Lin. Lin hides himself in a corner, holding his breath. But when he senses no movement, he turns to look, only to experience the same spine-chilling event seen in ghost movies, where the ghost suddenly appears backward. With his giant nails, Shorty swings to scratch Lin. Lin dodges, but the sudden impact slams him into the corner. Lin notices that Shorty has briefly let his guard down, so he charges at him with his dagger. To his surprise, Shorty easily grabs the knife and grins. With just his finger, Shorty throws the knife away. Using his other hand, Shorty slams Lin to the ground. Lin is now left with just 1 health point. This activates his undead skill, which allows him to survive for a moment. As Shorty approaches, Lin shines his flashlight directly into Shorty's face. Unable to see, Shorty starts swinging his hands blindly, allowing Lin to escape again. Shorty, however, opens his eyes furiously and charges at Lin. He pierces his nails into Lin's forearm. Lin retaliates by activating his bone corrosion skill and piercing Shorty's hand. Shorty moves back and screams in pain. Taking this opportunity, Lin runs away, but Shorty is extremely furious. In no time, he catches up and pierces Lin's body. Lin understands he will die as soon as his undead skill deactivates. Desperate, Lin remembers he still has a flash grenade. He pulls the pin, knowing that Shorty, who is weak against extreme light, will surely retreat. After a few moments, Lin reaches a safe room. He starts searching for medicine to heal his injuries. He bandages the hole in his chest. He realizes how lucky he was to have the undead skill, but if something like that happens again, he will die for sure. He knows that the short zombie will surely come back at night. He has no idea how to kill that guy. Then his system reminds him that he still hasn't chosen an evolution direction. It's already 7 in the evening. Lin thinks, if that zombie comes while I'm unconscious, it will be troublesome. So he starts searching the room to prepare something. Lin lights a bonfire using alcohol, knowing zombies have low fire resistance and that Shorty is afraid of light. Suddenly, someone slams on the door. The slams grow stronger and stronger until finally, the short zombie breaks through the door. He's covering himself with a blanket to avoid the light and charges directly at Lin. Lin gets slammed into the wall, causing cracks in his spine. The health he had recovered through meditation drops again. Lin quickly uses his commander skill on Shorty. As they struggle near the fire, the blanket covering Shorty catches fire. Shorty quickly throws the blanket away and, covering his eyes, starts running. But Lin commands him again and stops him. Lin's stamina is depleted. Shorty picks up something and starts smashing it on the fire to extinguish it. With full determination, Shorty tries to put out the fire and finally manages to do so. Now he's extremely furious and radiates killing intent toward Lin. At the same time, Lin's flashlight stops working. Shorty swiftly rushes and attacks the flashlight, then hits Lin again. He's determined to finish Lin this time, but Lin still has his pocket lighter and throws it directly at Shorty's leg. Shorty, who is extremely afraid of fire, screams and quickly escapes from the room. Lin assumes that Shorty will leave for today, but to his shock, Shorty starts throwing bottles toward him. However, he misses every throw. Lin realizes that Shorty's accuracy is extremely low, but then suspects that the short zombie may have lost his eyesight. Lin throws a burning alcohol bottle toward Shorty, setting him on fire. Shorty's body is engulfed in flames, but he still wants to kill Lin and charges for one last attack. But it's over. Shorty collapses to the ground. Lin checks to see if he's really dead. His system informs him that he has killed the intermediate variant zombie, White Ghost, which was above his level, so he gained additional experience and attribute rewards. Meanwhile, his patient mission completion is at 30%. Lin notices that his experience points have already surpassed the evolution limit, and he still hasn't evolved in a long time. Since he has killed the main zombie of this floor, he assumes it will be safe for now. Exhausted, Lin decides to rest for a moment. Then he notices a light. It's not morning yet? Looking out from the window, he sees that a particular room is on fire. Lin thinks, is someone copying me to send a message? Could it be that female doctor? Is she in the outpatient building? Then a burnt body falls out of the building. Lin notices that it's a man's body. Zombies start moving toward the building out of curiosity. Lin doesn't know who set the fire, but the outpatient building has now become the biggest target. It's too dangerous to go there. So Lin starts eating the roasted zombie first, then searches for Yeon. During his search, Lin finds a letter. By observing the handwriting, Lin assumes it must be from the female doctor. Suddenly, Yeon calls out to him, saying, "Come here!" There are many zombies roaming around, and Yeon doesn't have many bullets left. Although they're just a low-level group of zombies, Yeon, being human, is getting suppressed by the pressure of their presence. Lin says, "I'll lead them away. Once they follow me, you find a way up." Yeon, feeling too dizzy to fully understand, nods. Lin moves toward the zombies and activates his commander skill. While he's grabbing their attention, Yeon reaches the door. But then Lin senses a familiar stench. Turning back, he notices a hairy monster. It's not a zombie, but a mid-level monster. The monster throws all the zombies aside and charges toward Lin. Lin picks up a piece of concrete and throws it at the monster, but to his surprise, the system informs him that since he activated the White Ghost ability, a mid-level variant skill that exceeds his current abilities, every action will now consume double stamina. Lin curses the system, frustrated that it didn't reveal such an important detail earlier. Lin falls back. When he wakes up, his system notifies him of the stats of another powerful monster. It also shows that he has gained a new skill, Battle Roar. If he uses this skill on someone, the target will receive hostile treatment from others for a specific duration. Knowing there's another powerful monster in his storehouse, Lin jumps back toward the hairy monster and kicks it while using his Battle Roar skill. His white ghost form has ended. They both arrive inside the storehouse, and here comes another monster, the mutated wolf. The wolf becomes hostile toward the Bigfoot monster and bites its leg. The two monsters begin fighting each other. While they're distracted, Lin seizes the opportunity and finishes off the hairy Bigfoot with his knife, beheading it. But then Lin feels something is wrong. Even for a mid-level monster, Lin didn't get many experience points. Disgusted by the stench, he moves out. Yeon calls him, saying, "This place is safe." They enter a room, and Lin hopes that no zombies will come for some time. Meanwhile, back at the battle scene, the wolf monster approaches the Bigfoot's severed head to devour it. Suddenly, the head opens its eyes, widens its mouth, and devours the wolf's head instead. Like a symbiotic entity, it possesses the wolf. The possessed wolf charges out of the storehouse and starts killing all the zombies. Not only does it eat them, but the heads of the zombies also begin appearing on its body. Suddenly, Lin feels as if he's sinking into water while someone calls out to him. He wakes up and sees the same female doctor they were tasked to protect. The doctor says to him, "Repeat after me. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Lin coughs and writes that he can't talk freely, but his consciousness is probably clear. Yeon is relieved and happy because they're finally safe, and the doctor is also their mission target. The doctor asks, "Now that you're awake, tell me, who exactly are you? Why did you suddenly come to this hospital? And what's the story behind the fire you set in the inpatient building earlier?" Yeon, checking his system, repeats, "We're from the military. We came here to rescue you. We need you to find the antidote for this zombie virus." The doctor replies with a hint of sarcasm. "Didn't you see the note I left? The situation here can't be handled by just a soldier." Ian is surprised by her response, as it doesn't match the information his system provided. The doctor continues, "Let's put that aside for now." She turns toward Lin and starts interrogating him. "Who are you? And why are you covering your face? That smell... You don't seem like a human." She begins recounting the story of the zombie outbreak. One day, a patient came to this hospital. He claimed that his appetite had increased, and he felt mentally exhausted. Initially, he was in the psychiatry department, but the on-duty psychiatrist couldn't find any mental symptoms in him. Later, he was transferred to another department. After that, the patient became increasingly irritable. He became so strong that even adult men couldn't control him. Soon, it was discovered that he carried an unknown virus. After examination, we realized that the virus enhances the human body, granting poorly developed individuals physical abilities beyond ordinary people. But there was a price. The side effects include a gradual loss of language, consciousness, and an overwhelming craving for blood and raw meat, making them highly aggressive. The virus spreads through the air and via infected blood. Once bitten, infection occurs depending on the individual's physical condition. Within an hour or a week, they turn into zombies. Worse, the virus mutates rapidly. A small number of people began to show varying degrees of mutation immediately after infection. Soon, many doctors here were also infected, and similar cases started appearing across the country. That's when the virus spread widely. Several doctors and patients, including myself, hid on the 4th floor and blocked the stairwell to survive. But many of them were worried about their families and insisted on leaving the hospital. Eon asks, "Then why didn't you leave with the others at that time?" "Because I didn't want to give up," she says. They enter a research room. The doctor explains, "There's a zombie like this in every room. I tried to make them conscious, and the result was that they gained some language abilities. Earlier, I used a sedative gas. It makes humans feel drowsy, but zombies sleep for at least half a day." Lin thinks, "No wonder Yan woke up before me." Then Lin suddenly realizes that he's fallen into her trap. Even though he doesn't want to hide his identity anymore, he can't understand why he's panicking. Yan says, "Doctor, I need to take some experimental results for my mission." The doctor replies casually, "You can take their blood and give it to the military. There are spare containers in that room." Then she turns to Lin again and says, "You must be curious about how I made zombies talk, right? Follow me to the 5th examination room." Lin thinks, "Is this a coincidence? This is the mission location." The doctor takes out a chemical and says, "If you drink this, maybe you'll make some new discoveries." Lin grows anxious, realizing she's trying to use him as an experimental rat. She assures him, "This is my latest research. Even if you're human, there won't be too many side effects." The system displays information about the medicine. It will grant Lin a small mutation with only positive effects, specifically increasing his intelligence. Without hesitation, Lin snatches the bottle from the doctor's hand. However, as he does, he notices something odd. Her body temperature is extremely low. Confused, he wonders whether she's even alive or dead. Despite his suspicions, Lin decides to drink the medicine. Almost immediately, its effects kick in, and he feels refreshed and energized. The doctor begins asking him a few questions, but Lin ignores her as his system notifies him that his intelligence has slightly increased. Additionally, he has mastered human language, enabling him to communicate normally using minor stamina points. Lin speaks up in surprise. "I can talk now!" The doctor's attention sharpens. She narrows her eyes and says, "Didn't you say earlier that you couldn't talk? How are you suddenly able to speak after drinking this medicine, which is specifically designed for zombies?" Lin calmly replies, "Didn't you say humans could drink it too?" The doctor grins slyly and corrects him. "That medicine has no effect on normal people. In fact, it could have side effects. But things are different for zombies." She starts examining Lin's body closely and curiously asks, "Since you can speak now, tell me, how does it feel to be like this? Also, how does your body continue to function only by eating meat?" Lin feels awkward and embarrassed by her closeness, but stays silent, worried that he might get dragged into trouble by that mysterious being again if he says anything carelessly. At that moment, Yan suddenly enters the room. "Forgive me for interrupting," he says, but just as he turns to leave, Lin calls out, "Come back!" Yan freezes in shock. "Brother, you can talk?" The doctor smirks and replies proudly, "Yes, he can talk now, thanks to me. After all, undead." Lin quickly tries to stop her before she completes her sentence, but before he can react, he's violently dragged into the mysterious realm again. The same mysterious being appears before him, its presence overwhelming. "I told you before not to talk about it," it growls. Lin shouts back, "Are you deaf or blind? I didn't say a word about my identity." The being's voice grows colder. "The process doesn't matter. What matters is that you will pay for this." Furious, Lin spits at the being and yells, "You damn bastard! You're just messing with me! You just want an excuse to kill me?" The being, enraged by Lin's defiance, decides not to kill him quickly. Instead, it tears his limbs apart. Lin abruptly snaps back to reality, gasping for breath. Yan furiously interrogates the doctor. "What did you do to him?" The doctor insists. "I didn't do anything!" "Then why did he suddenly collapse like that?" Yan demands. Lin regains his composure and sits up. "I'm fine now," he says weakly. Then, turning to the doctor, he warns her, "Don't ever associate that word with me again." The doctor looks puzzled. "What word? Are you talking about Before she can finish, Lin places his hand over her mouth to stop her. The doctor blushes slightly at his sudden action. At that moment, Lin's system presents him with two options. 1. Kill the doctor, obtain all experimental records, and leave the hospital. 2. Protect the doctor, help her complete her final experiment, and ensure her safety. Regardless of the choice, completing either option will advance the patient mission to its final stage. Yan, still recovering from his shock, asks, "If you could talk all along, why didn't you just speak directly instead of using such strange methods to communicate with me?" Lin replies, "I'll explain that later. For now, our priority is to protect the doctor and complete the main storyline." He turns to the doctor and sincerely says, "Thank you for the potion. I'll take you out of here within a day." The doctor refuses firmly. "I'm not leaving until I complete my final experiment." Lin frowns. "This is going to be the most challenging part of the mission," he mutters under his breath. Yan asks, "Doctor, I've been curious. What exactly is this experiment of yours?" The doctor motions for them to follow her and replies, "Since you're going to protect me, I'll explain everything on the way to the laboratory." As they walk, she begins, "When the virus first broke out, I tried to develop vaccines using laboratory animals. During my research, I discovered that the fatality rate of this virus wasn't actually high. Most infected people initially enter a false death state. After that, the virus spreads throughout their bodies, causing them to recover with enhanced physical strength. The problem is that the zombie virus spreads extremely quickly, through both air and bodily fluids of the infected. People with weaker immune systems are the most vulnerable and will turn into zombies almost immediately. But the most terrifying aspect of this virus is its rapid mutation rate, which surpasses any virus ever recorded. Every mutated zombie exhibits different characteristics, making it incredibly difficult to create a universal cure. But she still managed to research some things, such as inhibitors that could slow down the zombie symptoms. However, as more people became infected, she could only take a portion of the research data and hide in the outpatient building. What was left in the laboratory was the first-generation vaccine, which she didn't have time to complete. As long as she can return to the lab and successfully complete the final experiment, she can develop a vaccine and effectively control the virus outbreak. She handed something to Lin, warning him that they must be careful because the challenges ahead are not easy to deal with. The laboratory is located in Building B, where other patients won't come over. She also provided a list of a few mutated monsters, including an intermediate-level monster. She told them to take off their shoes to avoid making any noise. As they silently and slowly moved, they smelled a strange odor. The doctor stopped near an infant zombie, which was giving off a strange smell. Perhaps it had pooped its diaper. The system informed Lin that this was a low-level zombie, one of the weakest races, and that it hadn't noticed them yet. Lin didn't understand why they had to be so afraid of such an extremely low-threat zombie, but judging by the doctor's cautious reaction, he decided it was better to stay alert. They continued to move silently, but the smell started to trouble Yeon's stomach. He tried to control it but failed, accidentally letting out gas. This screwed them over. The infant zombie noticed them. The doctor immediately shouted for them to run, warning that these zombies move in groups. Soon they were being chased by a swarm of infant zombies. The cries of the infants attracted all the nearby zombies. Lin quickly used his commander power to silence the infants. The doctor then pulled out alcohol, poured it onto the ground, and set it on fire to block the zombies' way. With this temporary barrier, they ran and finally reached the outpatient building B. They entered the laboratory. The doctor took Lin inside while instructing Yeon to guard the entrance from outside. Soon received the same task, to guard the third floor and ensure the doctor's safety. Inside, the doctor asked for Lin's help in gathering some experimental data. She explained that normally, high-risk experiments like these shouldn't directly involve humans. However, time was running out, so they had no choice but to skip a few steps and proceed straight to human trials. She handed Lin a potion and said, "Drink this and tell me how you feel. It will help me make adjustments." Even his system didn't recognize the potion or its effects. Lin grew anxious and asked, "What if this is a failed product? What will happen to me?" She calmly replied, "This is the antidote to the virus. Of course, it's still in the trial stage, but as for the effect of all my failed products so far, they have made the zombies who drank it more excited." She then placed the potion to Lin's mouth. His system immediately detected something. The system has detected the presence of virus prototype antibodies in your body, meeting the special evolution conditions. The system will forcibly initiate the evolution of the special lowest-level mutant race, corpse of the living, duration unknown.